Hello, welcome to our puppy handling booster course. As we all know, puppies are pretty irresistible. We always want to be petting, holding, and playing with them because they're just too cute. And as foster parents, you'll be handling them to weigh them or even administer medication. This course will cover consent-based petting and handling so that you can ensure your foster puppies are comfortable being touched. We'll also talk about how to safely weigh or administer medication if a puppy is telling you they do not want to be touched. First, let's discuss the body language of a puppy that is consenting to being pet and touched. If they are leaning into you, meaning you can feel them push into your hand when you pet them, are taking steps closer to you and shifting their body weight towards you, that's a good sign that they want to continue engaging in the interaction. It's important to remember that even if this consent was given at the start of an interaction, it doesn't mean they will continue to consent for the rest of the interaction. This also doesn't mean that they will always consent to that type of interaction. So keep an eye on their body language throughout. The puppy may not always lean into you for pets. However, if they are offering soft eye contact and they're taking food from your hands, they are likely consenting to touch. Again, remember to watch the puppy and constantly check in with them by briefly removing yourself to see if they are still comfortable. A good area to start petting the puppy are on their cheeks, the tops of their shoulders, and their neck. Generally, our first instinct is to pet a puppy on top of their head. This can actually be quite scary for a puppy, so we want to avoid reaching for that area first. If a puppy displays any of the following body language, they are not consenting to being touched: stiff or frozen body, averted eye contact, not taking food or treats, body weight shifted away, ears back or pinned, tail low or tucked, retreating, turning away from a reaching hand, and mouthing hands. If a puppy is doing any of these things, it's best to not touch them. We want to teach them that we understand and respect their body language. Of course, we want puppies to learn that pets are great, so let's go over how to turn touching into a more positive experience. Whenever you interact with your puppy, we want you to practice positive touch experiences. You always want to be prepared when interacting with a puppy who is not consenting to touch. Pair the experience with something positive. Puppies love food, so give them a treat when touching them can help build a positive association with the act of being pet. It's important to take small, incremental steps at the puppy's own pace. We'll list the basic steps, however, please remember that moving on to the next step depends on whether the puppy is comfortable and ready to move on. If the puppy cannot take the offered treat, go backwards one step. A shy puppy may take multiple visits or days to reach the last step. If you have a confident puppy, you may fly through all of these steps in one session. Step 1. Start by tossing treats to the puppy. See how they react to your hand movements and what their body language looks like as they are taking the treats. Step 2. Gradually decrease distance of toss from your body. Step 3. Drop treats from the hand to the ground and hold your hand in a neutral position next to the treat. Remember that we are not yet at the point of reaching for the puppy. Step 4, offer a treat from an open hand while your knuckles are touching the ground. Step 5, offer them a treat from a hand that is slowly moving towards them or has some sort of movement. Step 6, go back to offering a treat from an open hand. Add in the presence of another hand held in a neutral position. Slowly move that hand closer to the pup if they are comfortable. Step 7, offer treat from a hand while the other hand approaches and touches them in a neutral area for 1 to 2 seconds. Step 8, gradually increase the number of seconds you pet the pup. Sometimes you may need to handle a puppy for medical reasons, even if they aren't consenting to being touched. For example, you may need to weigh or administer an oral medication to the puppy. Always start with a low and slow approach. Toss them treats and use happy talk. Keep the side of your body to them as you approach. Keep any hand or arm movement at their level or below eye level. When possible, allow the puppy to approach you. Offer treats or wave a toy along the ground to coax them. Solo puppies will be easier to medicate using low-stress methods. Hide the medication in food. We call this a wet food meatball. If they are not taking treats from your hand, you can leave the medication in their space and then step out of the room or out of view. Then you can return a few minutes later to see if they've eaten it. Some shy puppies prefer to eat when you're not in the room. If you have 2 to 3 puppies, you may be able to separate them using the crate or an X pen. Toss treats and use spatial pressure to lure puppies away from each other. Once you have puppies isolated from each other, you can leave the medication, step away from the space, and then come back to see if they've eaten it. Of course, if you're doing this, it's extra important to make sure the puppies cannot escape their personal space and inadvertently eat a different puppy's medication. If you have a whole litter of puppies, you can do your best to isolate the most fearful ones so that they can take their time taking the medication, while you go as slowly and gently as you can to medicate the other puppies, one by one. To weigh a puppy that is non-consenting to touch, first try to lure the puppy onto the scale without touching them. Place a towel on the scale to make it less slippery and a more welcoming surface. Remember to tear out the scale after doing that. Then you can use food, wet or dry, to lure the puppy onto the scale. Smearing some wet food onto the scale can get them to stay on it long enough for you to weigh them. If you need to lift the puppy to put them on the scale, try to get the puppy to put their paw on your lap or to jump in your lap. Avoid looming, standing over, reaching from above, or reaching for the puppy with the front of your body facing them. Instead, approach low with your hands near the ground and turn the side of your body towards them. Reach your hands from below and lift the puppy into the side of your body rather than lifting directly up from the ground. Make sure you use a 1, 2, 3 up cue. Start to touch them when counting, then lift on the word up. If a puppy is frozen or retreating from you, use a towel to pick them up to decrease stress from direct contact. Remember to still use the 1, 2, 3 up cue. Always offer food on the ground, preferably wet food so they are licking it and eating it while you pick them up. And try to offer more wet food while they're in your arms and on the scale. Remember, these are some of the first experiences the puppies will have with human touch. We want to teach them that pets and touching are positive and not something scary. Building positive associations around handling will benefit puppies throughout their lives.